Record-breaking tourism numbers projected for Barbados. 2 shootings in less than 24 hours claim the lives of 2 men. Efforts to boost communication channels for natural disaster management. And in sports, the West Indies play for a place in the Super 8 in tonight's ICC World Cup matchup.
Tonight's headline news is sponsored by Flow.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. Some good news tonight about the island's tourism sector. Officials are saying arrival figures could reach record-breaking levels in coming months. The revelation from outgoing chairman of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Rene Coppin, during an address at the annual general meeting of that body at Sandals Royal Resort. Trevor Thorpe was there.
In her final address as chairman of that body, Ms. Coppin says projections and the bookings all point to greater airlift for Barbados. She says North Atlantic will suspend its London Gatwick service and replace it with a charter.
Virgin is going to add their flagship Airbus A350-1000 to Barbados again for their rotations during winter 24-25. This is a big development as this aircraft has superior onboard product to what currently exists and more opportunities for us to add, of course, extra seats over the aircraft that we currently have. We're projected to end 2024 with 467,889 seats out of the UK, and that's an increase of 16.1% over 2019.
The tourism official says the numbers are also up in the USA market.
Both Caribbean Airlines and Frontier Airlines will operate 3 times weekly from San Juan to Barbados, providing an additional 3,302 seats a month from this US territory. We're projected to end 2024 with 410,025 seats out of the US, and that's an increase of 14.2% over 2019. So, making good strides, doing big things. Thank you, Minister and team.
Europe is slightly down, but a pre-COVID performance picture is being seen for the industry with growth in the Canadian and Caribbean markets.
So overall, we're doing significantly better with our airlift in 2024, and 2025 is poised to be another record-breaking year on the current trajectory. The US market, for the first time ever, is scheduled to eclipse 50,000 seats in 1 month in January 2025, and again in March it rises to 55,532 seats when United Airlines takes their Newark service back to daily for March and April. American Airlines will cement its place as our largest US carrier with over 27,000 seats a month into Barbados next winter, with Saturdays being the single busiest day from this source market.
During the meeting, hotelier Javon Griffith, the general manager at Atlantis Historic Inn, 10th Day St. Joseph, was installed as the BHTA's new chairman. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Cabinet has approved a multinational hazard early warning system policy. The announcement from Minister of Home Affairs and Information Wilfred Abrams, who says it provides strategic guidance for the implementation of early warning systems. Mr. Abrams was addressing the Department of Emergency Management's one-day high-level media roundtable discussion and media workshop.
Risk communication plays a crucial role in enhancing early warning systems by ensuring that the information about potential risks or hazards is relayed to those at risk. The timely dissemination of risk information ensures that warnings and alerts are promptly communicated to all stakeholders to allow for swift action to mitigate the impact of the impending hazard.
Mr. Abrams says media houses, emergency services and warning focal points have a significant role to play in the communication and dissemination of risks to the public in the event of natural disasters.
I call on you to reflect on how you as the media can refine your procedures to support effective risk communication to the public. How can emergency services and warning focal points assist you in facilitating your duties? How can we effectively ensure that early warnings promote early action and save lives?
Meanwhile, we're being told government is considering the introduction of regulations to encourage people to build their homes with fire-resistant materials. The revelation from Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley during debate on the Barbados Blue-Green Bank bill in the lower house. She has expressed concern about the number of uninsured houses being destroyed by fire. The Prime Minister says Senior Minister Dr. William Duguid has been tasked with identifying materials for Barbadians that can boost resilience and reduce their insurance exposure and premia.
California is now requiring that insurers give discounts to homeowners who install fire-resistant roofs or make other changes to reduce the wildfires. Mr. Speaker, I have asked the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, member for Christchurch East Central, and the member for Christchurch West to be able to work together so that in the identification of these materials, the insurance companies can begin to take action and to be able to allow householders in this country to benefit from doing the things that will make them more resilient, sir.
The Barbados Police Service is once again expressing concern about the recent increase in shooting deaths on the island. This is coming on the heels of the murder of a 19-year-old Gall Hill Christchurch youth. Sharika Griffith has that report.
The Barbados Police Service is worried about the number of young people losing their lives to gun violence. This concern raised by Acting Assistant Superintendent of Police in charge of the Criminal Investigation Department in the Southern Division, Victor Brewster. He was speaking at the scene of the shooting of 19-year-old Zakir Avion Kimani Goodridge of Upper Gall Hill Road, Christchurch.
It is very concerning because before these persons get to make their mark in society, they are gunned down. And it bothers us simply because we have an aging population. And if the young people kill the young people, of course, we won't got nobody to carry on the flag to help prop up the economy. So it is with tremendous concern of the service that we try to get the culprits apprehended.
That incident occurred just after 9 a.m. Acting Police Public Relations Officer Inspector Rodney Innes adds it is painful to hear the cries of mothers.
And they should not be burying young people. It's very painful, it's very hurtful when you interact with families. And the thing about it, when a loved one is gone down, you don't get to see that person again, not in this lifetime. So trauma is not for a day or two. Like you all here now, this is going to be featured on the news tomorrow and tonight. Something else happens tomorrow, you move on. Families don't move on. This is affecting them for the rest of their lives.
According to police reports, a lone gunman walked up to a number of young men who were liming in the area and started shooting. He then fled through a gap. Goodridge was left motionless on the ground. 4 youngsters between 15 and 19 years were all transported to hospital with injuries, which were said to be non-life-threatening. Sadness and shock enveloped the community, with several residents openly voicing concerns about the young man's death.
It hurts to see that we mothers is who gonna suffer this pain, to see that we gonna be going through, and people will stand up on the sideline and talk stupidness. Nobody don't know how a person feel, even if they don't come out and show you crying and breaking down and going bar fees and all that. Ain't hurt. Hurt is from inside. And we as a mother that feel hurt. He got so much family and everybody could say the same thing. If you get in Zakir, he can tell you, he gonna tell you that's it, point blank, but he's not an interfering person. He ain't a troublesome person. Zakir would get up and he would go along to work.
Goodridge's death is the 16th homicide for the year. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
That Christchurch incident is the second fatal shooting in less than 24 hours. The Barbados Police Service has turned to the public for assistance after a Boscobel St. Peter man was shot dead last night. He's been identified as 43-year-old Sean Pearson Williams. Acting Assistant Superintendent of the Northern Division of the Criminal Investigations Department, Frederick Catwell, says the report was made around 6 minutes to 7 by a relative of the deceased. On arrival at the scene, officers discovered Williams' body just outside his residence. Pearson Johnson, the father of the deceased, told CBC News he had earlier brought his son home from hospital.
About 7:15, I bring you back here from the hospital, and as I was going on my way home, my last son called and tell me that my son get shot again. And I turn and come back at the road. When I get back here, I see nobody around, so I went over there And when I get the house was in darkness. So I try looking to see if I see him, but I didn't see. But when I realized now that he done with the peeling in the house.
In other news now, the name of God should not be trivialized. That message comes from Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Senator Chad Blackman, who was speaking at the Barbados Labour Party's St. Michael's South Branch meeting. Addressing the leader of the opposition, Senator Blackman believes that Mr. Thorne's use of God is inappropriate. He also believes that the party has gone away from the vision of the Right Excellent Errol Walton Barrow.
And I wish somehow I could have talked to Errol Barrow, but I can't. Because I'm sure he would say, Chad, I don't know what them people down there doing in my name, but their actions bear no resemblance to the ethos of the party in which I started. I believe strongly those are the words that he would use. I am not perfect, but growing up in a Christian home, one of the things I also learned as a young Christian young man, you don't play with God. And I take an affront when a man can leave this great institution, go across to that other institution, and do so and say to the country, he is doing God's work.
Mr. Blackman believes it is incorrect to say that Mr. Thorne's decision to join the opposition Democratic Labour Party was inspired by God.
From the time he has come there, confusion after confusion after confusion. And those in the Senate can tell you, as recent as last week or week before, one of his own members in the Senate, they're now starting to distance themselves in their own utterances. Go online on CBC and check for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Because why? They're now starting to realize that he is not the man he purports to be relative to his leadership and his vision. Don't play with God. A word to the wise is enough.
We'll take a break here, but coming up, concern about Calypsonians being sued this crop over season. There is concern about Calypsonians being sued for their social commentaries. It comes as yet another Calypso tent opens its doors for crop over 2024. Sean Farrell reports.
With military precision, the Pace Digital COB Credit Union All-Stars Calypso tent got their 2024 season underway on time. And what an opening night! To a virtually full St. Gabriel's School auditorium, Calypsonians delivered lively performances, and the MCs played their part.
You know, they got a big movie going on here now that the whole of Barbados watching is a disaster.
It starts with D, and there's a raw lunch. It's got the D for days, and it's got the L for lunch. But it is DLP. That's the whole horror story.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell you something, right? If Ralph found this shame, he will call me a bad man. I tell you.
You feel so?
He might feel to come back home. But he didn't expect that he would get no hostile disturbance when he went across the road.
As a young lady, my education
It was not all laughs though. The tent had some serious social commentary. From the youngest 15-year-old Kiara Henry, who opened the show, to veterans like Bumba and Colin Spencer. Some of the lyrics may be the focus of conversations throughout the season, like Spencer's We Can't Take No More.
I have two songs. One is on radio entitled Fear, F-E-A-R, and the song I sang tonight is We Can't Take No More. I'm going to have the public decide which song I compete with, because the response will tell me what to say. In my heart, I kind of know where to go though, because based on how the political system situation is in the country right now, I know what song not to sing for the competition.
Tent manager Eleanor Rice says all she wants is for the artists to be able to sing without fear of being sued.
Everything that a Calypsonian sings about is in the newspaper. Everything that a Calypsonian sings about is something that is news. So how can you sue the Calypsonian when it is something that made the news? That baffles me, and I would like to see that stopped. Sing your Calypso.
Meanwhile, Donella is changing her style this year with her song Don't Bite.
It's really about me getting out of the box this year because a lot of people say I keep in the safe zone and with the nation building songs, which is my first love. But it's really just to show that there is versatility, and I don't mind singing biting songs, but it's also very informative, the song as well.
All Stars Tent is known for producing a number of Pico de Pop finalists annually, and according to Rice, the intention is to do the same this year. Sean Farrell, CBC News.
Barbados has reaffirmed its commitment to protecting the rights and dignity of every child. This message has been conveyed by Minister of Labour, Social Security and the Third Sector, Colin Jordan, in his message for World Day Against Child Labour. It is being observed under the theme, Let's Act on Our Commitments, End Child Labour.
Our children deserve a childhood filled with laughter, learning and dreams, not exploitation. Let's accelerate our actions. Let us join forces and chart a future for our children that is safe and free from child labor.
Barbados and the State of Palestine have signed a joint declaration establishing diplomatic relations between the two countries. The signing between Barbados' permanent representative to the United Nations, Francois Jackman, and his Palestinian counterpart took place at the permanent mission of Barbados to the UN in New York. The two parties decided diplomatic relations would be based on international law, as well as respecting national sovereignty, regional safety, independence, and international treaties. In April, Barbados became the 140th member of the United Nations to recognize the State of Palestine and the 11th member of CARICOM to do so. A man whose life has been based behind the camera, capturing some of Barbados' most exclusive stories, making international headlines, Charles Henderson Grant, was laid to rest on Monday. Wendy Burke attended the service and tells us the tributes reflected the positive impact he'd had on the lives of family, friends, and co-workers.
The life of the man was such that individuals from all walks of life made their presence known at the St. Barnabas Anglican Church to pay their last respects to 78-year-old photographer Charles Henderson Grant. Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley was among the mourners, along with his children, some of whom are also in the photography field. Longtime friend and colleague Al Jilt eulogized him, a man he met in 1973 when the nation began in St. Mary's Row. He recounted capturing the arrival of notorious criminal Ronald Biggs.
When they brought him off, Biggs, Charles took this camera, excuse me, and he was like this, I heard he made nearly $1 million in fees against one of the daughters or sons. You will have to tell me if that's true. I know you can be getting enough money.
Other colleagues, Roxanne Branca, Maria Bradshaw, and Tim Slinger, also remembered the good times with Grant and his thirst for getting the story.
Now, Grant didn't like to travel outside of Barbados, really. He would go the length of breadth of Barbados. When it comes outside, he really used to be hesitant. But there were stories where he felt was worth it, and he would go. And the capture of Winston Hall was one. And how can we forget the Nation was the only media house that had the rope to freedom. That was the rope that Winston Hall used to scale the wall of Glenderry and escape.
Maria, come. I got a big one. Grant would whisper that in my ear, because usually he didn't want anybody else to know. I would grab my bag, tape recorder, notepad, and I'm running down the stairs, only asking questions when we were well on our way.
As the news broke, Charles would be the first, and most times the only one to capture the images, whether it be a tragedy of some sort, a police standoff, a house fire, and the list goes on. Today, as I bid farewell to this genius of a man, who my partner for over 40 years, journalism would not find his replacement. But who was Charles Grant? Two senior citizens debated, and the response was interesting. He's the man that when the police had to go back, he doesn't be coming forward with the camera in the hand. Enough said.
Family meant everything to Charlie, and niece Gail Grant spoke to how there was always food on the Tichborne table and how all of his children had special times with him. She spoke to his namesake son, Charlie.
Charlie credits his daddy for his career in photography, remembering the thrill of capturing his first front-page photograph under his father's tutelage. Charlie vividly recalls that my father gave me a point-and-shoot camera, and under his guidance, I snapped my first front-page photograph of the accused in a very high-profile court case.
The priest Henderson Guy, who remembers Grant as a professional, spoke about him capturing the images from heaven.
The promised land, whatever. I prefer, Charles, let me get my photograph firsthand. Your photographs may be faded. So wait till I get up there and I can see the Blessed Trinity face to face. So do not send down any photographs down here to me, please.
Rest in peace and rise in glory. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
A new government has been formed in Haiti as it tries to restore order in the violence-ravaged nation. The new cabinet completely replaces all of the ministers from the government of the former Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who was forced to step down early this year by gangs which control large parts of Haiti. The announcement of the new cabinet comes 2 weeks after the country's Transitional Government Council appointed Gary Conille as interim Prime Minister. He'll also take on the role of Interior Minister. The formation of a cabinet in Haiti is a further sign of efforts to bring back some political stability to a nation racked by violence and uncertainty for many months. Barbados is the latest stop of the Grenada Tourism Authority's regional destination promotion. Barbadians will be able to sample Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique through its food, rum and chocolate. The opportunity will be provided through a Pure Grenada Expo set for tomorrow at the Noir at the Sands Hotel in Worthing, Christchurch. Grenadian tourism officials will also engage with the media and travel partners. Marketing executive Samantha Thomas says Grenada maintains an excellent relationship with Barbados, noting this is key to regional travel. She was a guest on Morning Barbados.
As it stands, we have 3 main airlines operating the Grenada to Barbados route. We have Caribbean Airlines, Inter-Caribbean, and Virgin Atlantic. So we have the connection. So I think, you know, it's about letting people know that these are the options that are available. And Grenada is only 39 minutes away from Barbados. So why not leverage that relationship and market our destination for each other? Because just like we're here, we also welcome our BTMI partners over as well to do the same.
The Business Report is brought to you with the kind compliments of the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
Returning to the bargaining table will be the first order of business for newly installed chairman of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Javon Griffith. He's the general manager of Atlantis Historic Inn at 10th Bay St. Joseph and sales and marketing and reservations director at Little Good Harbor at Sherman's St. Lucie. Attention to members' matters and the upcoming winter season are also among his early plans.
Continuing to advocate for the best interests of our members. Looking forward to a improved winter season, given on the statistics that we've been building on for the last couple of months. We are seeing continued growth in the entire industry, and we are looking forward to a bumper 2024-25 winter season. So preparations for that will be what we'll be looking at over the next 2 months.
Raising participation of members in the BHTA's Tourism Fund is also another concern for Mr. Griffith.
Most of the things which I intend to work on in the first few months are really things as it relates specifically to our members. For example, building participation in our tourism fund, which is key to the BHCA funding its many projects on an annual basis. As you will have heard our Director of Finance enunciate earlier in her address, only about half of our hotel members are currently participating in that fund, and advocating for a high level of participation is something which is key to me, because I believe that that puts us in a more powerful position to assist our members on the global stage.
Barbadian employers have been encouraged to take wellness of employees seriously and implement a variant of the National Workplace Wellness Policy. The initiative, launched in 2019, seeks to encourage health and wellness in workplaces. The policy document was conceptualized and prepared by Dr. Dwayne Devonish, and speaking on Morning Barbados, Dr. Devonish reminded Barbadians that wellness is not just a single dimension and should not be left to the employee alone.
So we have physical wellness, we have emotional or psychological wellness, we have environmental wellness, we have social wellness, we have spiritual wellness, we have financial wellness, occupational wellness, cultural wellness. There are 9 dimensions, and I think that is in keeping with the fact that wellness is not just a singular dimension. It's not just your physical health, it's not just the exercise, it's also your mental, it's your spiritual, it's your environment, how you keep your environment safe and tidy, and even your spiritual side. So it's multidimensional.
More action, more sports, more Mark.
Indeed. 3 Barbadian wrestlers secured medals at the just concluded Pat Shaw Memorial Development Wrestling Tournament in Guatemala. The stand-up performers, Adrian Maynard and Jessica Durrell, secured gold medals in their divisions. Maynard took gold in the men's 77 kg section, while Durrell captured her gold in the women's 59 kg. Kwame Ennis took the bronze medal in the men's 74 kg. A fast-paced T6 cricket format at the Olympics could bring even more global appeal to the sport. That's according to Hamilton Lashley, director of the Hamilton Lashley Human Development Foundation. Cricket has sealed a return to the Olympic Games for the first time in more than a century, and has been joined by baseball, softball, flag football, lacrosse and squash for Los Angeles 2028. The former Member of Parliament and community activist has held several T6 competitions both locally and regionally, and is urging government to support the format.
Plays for about approximately an hour and 15 minutes. It is television friendly, it is spectator friendly, it is the players friendly, and it is you could do one big festival of cricket, play more than 30 matches, play more than 30 matches on double wicket in a day. And I am saying that Barbados should now invest in this form of cricket. Australia came here and look at it. While we were playing back at CBC actually in building, and they were fascinated, they fell in love with it.
Now, on a different note, Ms. Lashley says there is a wide vacuum to be filled in terms of women's cricket.
You can look at Hayley Matthews, exceptional cricketer, exceptional talent, and our team, former champions of the women's version of hardball cricket. But we now have to reunite, we now have to inject resources into women's cricket at the community level and in the schools across Barbados. There's absolutely no excuse for Barbados, lacking in the development of this form of the game of cricket, particularly women's game, where we could use the resources that are in the schools and in the communities. And hence, next year, Barbados will be staging the West Indies women's softball cricket at Easter next year.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.